Before we start reading the text, let's have a quick look at some pictures to help us understand the topic more. What can you see in the picture? Yes, a crime scene. A crime scene is where a crime happens. What else? Who usually investigates a crime scene? Yes, these two police officers are actually investigating or looking at the crime scene to find some evidence. So, what are evidence? Evidence are actually the clues or the things that tells us how and who did the crime. Again, for us to have a crime, we always must have an accused, somebody who you think did that crime. Now, let's have a look at these pictures. What type of crime do you think is happening? Yes, computer crimes. Can you mention some computer crimes? Yes, credit card stealing. There are some people who could hack into your phone or into your PCs and get all the passwords that you have and after that use the money or the information against you. Hacking. Again, hacking is another type of a computer crime in which you put a virus that can damage other people's files. An online threat. After reading the title and having a look at the pictures, what do you think we are going to read about? A computer crime. Correct. On the evening of his 18th birthday, a teenager from a tiny village in northern Germany clicked send on his computer. Within 3 hours, the postal services in Taiwan was in chaos. Computers in hospitals and banks in Hong Kong had crashed, and trains in Australia and planes in the USA had come to a halt. How could a young man cause so many problems for people in places that were thousands of kilometers from his home? Of course, there was only one answer. He was the inventor of the terrible computer virus Sasser. After reading the text, what was the problem or the crime? Yes, a terrible computer virus. Who sent the virus and how old was he? A teenager from a tiny village in northern Germany. How old was he? He was 18. How far did the virus reach? The virus reached Taiwan, Hong Kong, Australia, and the USA. It caused a lot of chaos. So, what is chaos? Chaos is a situation when everything is disorganized and confused. When there is a chaos, everything crashes, everything stops. So, what do we mean by crash? Yes, suddenly stopped working. What do we mean by the word halt? It means that something stopped moving or happening. Who started our crime or problem and what happened? So the person who started is actually a teenager, a young man who is 18. He sent a virus and that virus spread worldwide. Let's see what happens next. After a 3-month-long investigation, the police traced the virus to the teenager's friend Jasper. computer, and they charged him with criminal damage. In court a few months later, the judge found him guilty of putting the Sasser computer virus on the internet, and he received a 21-month suspended sentence. He avoided a 5-year prison sentence because he was only 18 when he committed the crime. The virus infected millions of company systems across the world and caused millions of dollars of damage. So after creating the havoc, what happened? How long did it take them to find the criminal? A 3-month long investigation. So they took about 3 long months and they did a lot of investigation. What do we mean by the word investigation? A process to find out who or what caused something. After the investigation, what happened? They traced the problem back to that person. So what do we mean by trace the virus? Yes, to find something or someone who you were looking for. After the long investigations that they did, they found the teenager Sven. So what are they going to do with him? They are going to charge him with criminal damages. So what does the word charged mean? What do we mean by the word guilty? To be responsible for doing something bad or illegal. After the court found him guilty, what did they do? They gave him a punishment. But because he was under 18 or 18 in this case, he had a suspended sentence. What do we mean by the word suspended sentence? Yes, his punishment was delayed because he was very young. That's why he escaped a 5-year prison. So if he was a little bit older, he could have got imprisoned for 5 years. Finally, why was he punished? Yes, because that virus infected millions of computer systems around the world and caused millions of dollars of damages. As you can see in this paragraph, it took them about 3 months until they found Sven. After they found him, he went into court. The court found him guilty and they punished him. But because he was 18 at that time, he didn't go to a grown-up prison. Instead, he had a 21-month suspended sentence. So his punishment was delayed because he was so young, even though that he caused a lot of damage. Sven admitted his guilt to the detectives who finally found him home after a long search for the author of the virus. They had started looking for him in Russia because of false clues that Sven had written in the program. He had spent an enormous amount of time creating the Sasser virus on the computer in his bedroom. He often spent 10 hours a day in front of his computer, but his parents hadn't known what he was doing at the time. Did Sven take responsibility for the crime he did? Yes, he admitted his guilt to the detectives and he said, "Yes, I am responsible for that." Where did the detectives start looking for him and why? They started looking for him in Russia. Why? because of the false clues that Sven had written. So, what are the false clues? What is a clue? A piece of information. Did it take him a lot of time to create the virus? Yes, he spent an enormous amount. Enormous means very large amount of time. He spent 10 hours a day. Did his parents knew what he did? No, his parents didn't know what he was doing. As you can see in this paragraph, Sven admitted or said that he was responsible and guilty for spreading the virus. The first place in which the detectives looked for him was in Russia, because he gave some false clues or wrong information that he stayed there. But where was he? He was in his bedroom in Germany. He spent a lot of time on his computer in his room, and his parents didn't know what he was doing. When he released the virus on the internet, he didn't realize it would cause so much damage. He was just delighted that it had worked. I felt if I had written a first-class essay, said Sven, a student at a computer science school. I told my classmates. They thought it was terrific, but his feelings changed very quickly. He was terrified when he saw a TV news report about the virus and the damage it had caused. First, let's try to guess the meaning of the word released. When he released the virus on the internet, what do we mean by the word released? Yes, to spread something. At the beginning, how did he feel when he spread the virus, when he let the virus go? Yes, at the beginning he was delighted. He was very happy. How did he describe that? He said that it was like writing a first-class essay. That means an excellent piece of writing. Okay, what does he study? He studies in a computer science school. What did his friends think about him releasing the virus? Yes, they said it was terrific. For them, this is something that they liked very much. Was he happy for a long time? No. After some time, he became terrified. He became very scared. Why? Because he heard that the virus has caused a lot of damage. Detectives arrested Sven after one of his classmates contacted Microsoft with a tip-off about his activities. Microsoft had offered a $250,000 reward for information about the virus. However, Sven's teachers at school were astonished that Sven had created the virus. They said that he wasn't a brilliant computer student. There are others in the class who are better than him, one teacher said. Now, what did the detectives do after they knew his place? Yes, they arrested him. What do we mean by the word arrest? To take somebody to a police station. How did the police knew where Sven was? They knew where Sven was after his classmates contacted Microsoft with a tip-off about his activities. So what do you think tip-off means? Tip-off means secret information. How much money did Microsoft offer Anybody who gave information about the virus. Yes, they offered a reward, a prize of $250,000. Now, let's have a look on how Sven's teachers thought of him. They thought that he wasn't a brilliant student. That means he wasn't that smart to create a virus that could cause that large damage. And even one of his teachers told that there are others in his class that are better than him. Which means that even when he created the virus, he wasn't a genius. He didn't have a very high IQ. While he was waiting for his trial to start, Sven left school and started work. A German computer company asked him to help them fight against the makers of computer viruses. Sven's new job is to make firewalls, vital pieces of software that protect computers against the type of viruses that Sven created. After causing so many problems for many people's computers, Sven now has the opportunity to find ways of protecting them and repairing some of the damage he caused. As you can see, after committing a crime, you have to wait for the trial. So what do we mean by the word trial? It is an examination in a court. So you have to see the judge, and the judge is going to decide what is your punishment. So did Sven's life change after he committed the crime? Yes, he left school and started work. What was his job? He worked for a German computer company and he was asked to make firewalls. What are firewalls? Firewalls are actually vital pieces of software that protect computers against viruses. So what did he have to do? He had to make those programs that are important in order to protect our computers from viruses that people are spreading and trying to take our information from our PCs. What do we mean by the word vital? It means very important. As you can see, Sven was a lucky person because he had a second chance. He had a chance to make something good instead of just damaging the world's computers. After reading and analyzing the paragraph, let's quickly read the tip. We skim a text quickly to decide what type of text it is. What type of text is our text? Is it an article? Is it an essay or a letter? An article is written to inform us about something. You can usually find them in newspapers or magazines. An essay is a response to a certain question. Did we have questions in our text? And as you know, most of you know what is a letter. A letter is usually a piece of writing that starts with "Dear." It has a sender and it has a receiver. So which is the correct answer? Yes, it's A. It is an article. Read the text, choose the best answers. So depending on the text, let's read number 1. How far did the Sasser virus spread? Did it go just all around Germany, or all around Europe, or all around the world? Yes, we said it spread all around the world. Number 2. Why wasn't Sven sent to prison? Why did we say that they did not send him to prison? Why? Because he was too young? Because he wasn't found guilty? Or because he admitted his guilt to the detectives? Yes, because at that time he was only 18. He was so young that he couldn't be sent to the prison that is for grown-ups. Number 3. How did he feel after he'd released the virus? At first he was frightened, then he was delighted. He was delighted then that he'd caused a lot of damage, but terrified that he might be caught. Was this the correct reason? I don't think so. At first he was delighted, he was very happy, then he became frightened. Yes, the correct answer would be C. At the beginning he was happy, but once he saw the damage that he caused, he wasn't happy anymore. 4. How did the police catch him? How did the police get him? One of his classmates told Microsoft about him. Detectives came to his home to ask questions, or the police offered a 250,000 reward. Was the police who offered that reward? No, it was actually Microsoft. So what's the appropriate answer? Yes, one of his classmates tipped off his activities to Microsoft. 5. How did Sven's teacher react? What was his teacher's opinion? They contacted Microsoft to receive the reward? No, they were surprised because Sven wasn't the best student in information technology lessons. They weren't surprised because Sven was very clever. Was he that brilliant? No, the correct answer is B. They were surprised because Sven wasn't the best student in information technology lessons. Extent computers. In this activity, we're going to be introduced to words that we use when we use computers. 1. Complete the text with the word in the box. Attach. Attach means to include something with the email. It's like including a file, including some photos, or attaching pictures. Backup. What do you mean by the word backup? It means to make a copy of something. Install. Install means to start working with a program, to initiate it. Protect means to save your computer from any damage. Update. Update means to modernize your computer, to make it up to date, always to have the newest versions. Software are the programs that we use. Files are the folders that we could usually attach. And finally, delete means to cancel something. Now let's have a look at the activity and try to fill in the blanks. Just like medical viruses, there are lots of computer viruses. If a virus gets into your computer, it can delete your... So what's the things that we delete? Yes, it is our files. So it can actually delete our files and programs. How can you dash your computer against virus? So what do we do against? We protect our computers against viruses. Well, people who make viruses usually dash them to an email. So what do we do when we want to send somebody something by mail? We attach that thing to the email and send it to lots of computers. So don't open emails from unknown people. You should also buy, and what do we do with antiviruses? Yes, we install them. We start working with them. We put them on our computers. And antiviruses are what? What are they? They are software. And dash your computer program regularly. So what do? We update. Yes, we update our program. You should also make dash and copy all your documents. So what do we do when we want to make a copy? Yes, we make backups. So you don't lose them if you do get a virus. Look after your computer and you should be safe. Compound adjectives. Numbers. We can put a number and a singular noun together to form a compound adjective. We use a hyphen between the two parts, according to what we have read. What do you think a compound adjective is made of? Yes, it is made of a number plus a singular noun. So remember that even if you are using a number that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 50, okay, you have to use a singular noun. That means the noun without an S. And we also must use a hyphen, and this is the hyphen to separate both words. So now let's try to write a compound adjective using the words in italic. There was an investigation for 3 months. A 3-month investigation. We had a wait of 2 hours. That means we have to write 2, after that a hyphen, then hour, wait. Let's try number 3. They stayed in a hotel with 5 stars. So the hotel is going to be a 5. After that we have a hyphen, star, hotel. 4. It's a walk of 10 minutes. So it's going to be 10-minute walk. Don't forget the hyphen. 5. There is a motorway with 5 lanes. So it's going to be a 5-lane motorway. 6. You have to write an essay of 300 words. So the essay is going to be a 300 hyphen word essay. He worked in a building with 10 stories. It's going to be a 10-story building. Story means here level. Finally, we have they want a car with 4 doors. So the car is going to be a 4-door car. This is all for the activity. You will find the answers written on the next slide. Extreme adjectives. You know, as you grow older, you must enrich your vocabulary. One of them are extreme adjectives. Extreme adjectives are other words instead of using the word very with an adjective. Let's have a quick look at the activity 3. Find extreme adjectives in the text on page 76 and 77 that match the definitions. 1. Very big means enormous. 2. Very small means tiny. Yes, it was mentioned when we talked about the tiny village in northern Germany from where Sven comes. 3. Very surprised. It means astonished. It is when Sven's school teachers were astonished that he created the virus. Very clever. Very clever meant brilliant. The other adjective is brilliant, which means that he is extremely smart, very smart. 5. Very happy. What was the word that the text used to say that he was very happy? Yes, delighted. He was delighted when he spread the virus at the beginning. Very bad. What's the word for that? Terrible. 7. Very good. What was the word that the text used to say it was very good? Yes, terrific. This is what his classmates thought of what he did. 8 is very scared. How did he feel after he spread the virus and after he was happy? After that, he was terrified. He was very scared. Collocation. Collocation is a linguistic term in which we say that words are placed together or used together. In this case, we're going to be introduced to collocation with verbs plus nouns. 4. We use some verbs to express more than one idea. Which word or expression do we not use with each of the verbs below? 1. To spend. What do we spend? A. We spend time with our family and we spend money to buy things. 2. To release. What do we release? A prisoner, a lesson, a film. Yes, we released a prisoner. That means he got out of prison. That means he finished his sentence or his punishment. We release a film is that when a company starts showing that film in cinemas. To charge. What do we charge? A battery, someone with a crime, or an opinion. So we charge a battery or we charge somebody with murder, with a crime, charged with robbery. 4. To commit. Commit yourself to something, to a job, or to a crime. So you commit yourself to something, that you commit yourself to studying because you want to become a doctor. So you do that, or you commit yourself to a job. To receive. What do we receive? A gift, a warning, and illness. So we receive a gift on our birthday and maybe a warning if we did something wrong. 6. To leave. The weather, a meal, or a place. What's the thing that we can leave? We can leave a meal and we can leave a place. And finally, please test your knowledge by doing your homework, which is your workbook page 68 and 69. Lots of love. your English teacher. Hello, 8th graders. How are you today? I hope everything is going well. I miss you a lot. Today we're going to start Unit 9 Grammar, Past Perfect. You can find it in your student book, page 79. Today we're going to start with the past perfect tense. What is this tense and when do we use it in English? Past perfect. Use. The past perfect expresses the idea that something occurred before another action in the past. It can also show that something happened before a specific time in the past. So, this means if we have a sentence with two verbs, the verb that happened first is gonna be in the past perfect, and the next verb we're going to use past simple. Now, let's have a quick look at some examples. 1. She only understood the movie because she had read the book. So, which is the first thing that happened? Yes, she had read the book first, then she had understood the movie. So remember, the thing that happened first is in the past perfect, and what happened second is in the past simple. 2. They had been married for 5 years when they had their first child. So, what happened first? They had been married for 5 years and then they had their first child. So this is the second thing that happened, is that they had their first child. And remember, sentences with when are usually followed by past simple. Past perfect tense. How do we make the past perfect tense in English? Can you think of the grammar rules? Let's have a quick look at this example. He had already left when she called. So, we start with the subject, then it's followed by the helping verb had, and remember, for all subjects, we are going to use had, and after that, we have the verb 3 of the main verb. This is left, that means leave. How do we form a sentence in the past perfect? This grammar has two parts. The first starts with the helping verb had, because we're talking about the past tense, and had is used for all subjects, whether singular, like he, she, or it, or anything that refers to them, and plural subjects like they, you, we, and anything that refers to them. Next, we add the verb in the past participle. Past participle means this is verb 3. So this is a great time for you to revise your verbs. Negative form. Had not plus verb 3, which is the past participle, or hadn't plus verb 3, which is again the past participle. Example: the teacher hadn't finished correcting papers when the students started to arrive. So how did we use it? We used hadn't, we started with had, plus not, and finished, which is the verb 3 of finish. More practice. Complete each sentence with the past perfect form of the given verb. Ready, set, practice. Karen, dash finish making dinner by the time her husband came home. Yes, had finished. 2. When I arrived at the store, it dash closed already. Had closed. 3. We dash own our car for 10 years before it finally dash. Let's have a look. Which happened first? Did the car die and stop working first, or did we own the car first? Yes, we owned the car first. So we say we had owned our car for 10 years before it finally died. This is all for our grammar rules. Please make sure that you do your homework, which is your workbook page 70, and do worksheet number 10, please. Thank you. Lots of love, your English teacher.